Hello everybody and welcome to another episode of Box Office Talk. This is the show where I break down what happened at the box office, see if my predictions for the top 5 are correct, and then make predictions for next week's top 5. So let's get right on into it. Last week I predicted that number 1 would be Aquaman, number 2 would be Mary Poppins Returns, number 3 would be Bumblebee, number 4 would be Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, and number 5 would be The Mule. And I got all 5 of my predictions right for this weekend. I was a little worried for a bit because it was 3 big new movies coming out and I didn't know where they were going to be, but I got all 5 of my predictions right. So let's go over what happened in the overall top 10. Number 1 was, of course, Aquaman, making $67 million, and that adds to a domestic total of $72 million because, like a couple weekends back, they actually had a one-day advance showing if you were an Amazon Prime member, so that's where they get that extra domestic total from, and worldwide it is already sitting at $482 million. So even though, as you may have noticed, Aquaman has the lowest opening weekend for any DC Extended Universe movie, this movie is already off to a pretty banging start worldwide, almost already at $500 million, and I'm sure since this is the holiday season, it's going to make a ton more money elsewhere. I think this is still going to be a really huge hit for the DC film series, which is kind of what they need after the huge bomb that was Justice League. In fact, this movie I think is going to aim to outgross Justice League both domestically and worldwide. Number 2, we have Mary Poppins Returns, not making as much as I guess I thought it would. It made $22 million this weekend, which is still pretty good, adding to a domestic total of $31 million because this movie actually opened on like Wednesday this week, and on the worldwide chart it is already at $51 million. So kind of similar to Aquaman, since this is a holiday season, this movie I think will carry over a lot in the next coming weeks, making a ton more money, but I guess it's just a little bit of a bummer that it didn't open with a little bit more because I thought this movie was really fantastic and I thought this movie would have a lot of people kind of flocking out to see it kind of immediately. So seeing it open this low is a little disappointing, but at the same time, it still has a ways to go in the holiday season. So I think it definitely will be able to double its $130 million budget in the near future. Same with number 3, which is Bumblebee, which unfortunately has the lowest opening weekend out of any live-action Transformers film ever. That's right, it even made lower than Transformers: The Last Knight, making $21 million on this weekend, adding to a worldwide total of only $52 million. Now, the budget isn't like Michael Bay level of big, not like $200 million or anything. The budget is only $135 million, so they only need about $270 million to be considered a success, and I do think that domestically and worldwide we'll be able to get there. I hope this doesn't bring any bad light on any future Transformers installments involving this film series, the new Bumblebee rebooted one, because I think this was a really good start for them. And I do think more people, similar to the other 2 movies, more people will definitely go out to see this film as the holiday season progresses. It is a pretty busy time this weekend, so it's kind of understandable why not too many people went to the theater this weekend. But still, I guess it is just a little disappointing, same with Mary Poppins, that it didn't open bigger than what I maybe would have liked, because I do think that this was a pretty good film, and I think it is kind of perfect for the holiday season, which is also why I do think it's going to make a ton more money in the next coming weeks. I think Mary Poppins and Bumblebee in particular are going to be like the greatest showman of this year, where they come out and they make a little low money, but then as the weeks go on, they just make more and more. Number 4, we have Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, dropping unfortunately by like 52% this weekend, making $16 million, adding to a domestic total of $64 million, and on the worldwide chart, it is sitting at $129 million. Now, this isn't bad so far. It needs about $51 million more dollars in order to double its $90 million budget worldwide, but it's just, I guess, a little disappointing that this movie didn't hold over as well, but kind of similar to the other movies, this is the holiday season, so it will be interesting to see where else this film goes financially, but I don't think it's going to be a huge heavy hitter or anything, unfortunately, even though I think this is the best Spider-Man film that we've ever gotten. Number 5, we have The Mule, making $9 million, adding to a domestic total of $35 million, and still there are no worldwide totals as of this moment, so I can't really report on that. Maybe in the next couple weekends we'll get a worldwide report and see if it's actually doubling its $50 million budget, but right now I can only say that this movie is kind of disappointing at the box office as of this moment. It's not doing as well as maybe it needs to in order to double its $50 million budget, and unfortunately I don't think this is one of those films that will be seen a lot over the holiday season. I think Mary Poppins, Bumblebee, and Spider-Man for sure, but I think the Mule is going to get a little lost in the shuffle. Number 6, however, The Grinch, I think a little bit more people will be revisiting since it is finally Christmas time, and it is a little appropriate to see this film. Made $8 million this weekend, adding to a domestic total of $253 million, and on the worldwide chart, it is sitting at $422 million, which is $7 million away from outgrossing the Ron Howard Grinch movie, which is pretty good, and $11 million away from outgrossing Illumination's other film, Despicable Me 3, to kind of show you where it is right now domestically. So that's really good for this film. Number 7, we have Second Act. Surprising how, even though they showed many YouTube ads, this movie didn't even come close to making it into the top 5. Weird, you'd think a movie that just shows a bunch of YouTube ads repeatedly would get people's attention, but I guess not. Made $6 million this weekend on a budget of 16. Worldwide, it is sitting at $11 million, similar to The Mule. I don't think this movie's going to hold over well the holiday season because it's just, like, no one really knows that much about this movie. Like, I think people are kind of starting to discover it now, but I don't think many people will have the drive to go out and see it, especially since it opened this low in the top 10. Number 8, we have Ralph Breaks the Internet, making $4 million, adding to a domestic total of 162, and on the worldwide chart, it is sitting at $307 million. So it's $43 million away from doubling its $175 million budget, and I think it will be leaving the top 10 soon, but once it's out of the top 10, it will be like releasing in a bunch of other places worldwide. So even though I won't be able to report on it, you'll be able to check on Box Office Mojo and see that Ralph Breaks the Internet's making a little bit more money worldwide. Now, number 9, we have Welcome to Marwin, which is the annual Robert Zemeckis flop for this year. It made $2.3 million on a budget of $39 million. I don't know why Rob Zemeckis is having such bad luck at the box office, but this is just another one of his movies that just isn't doing that well, which kind of sucks. I heard a lot of people being divided on this film, though, so maybe that's kind of why some people chose not to go see it this weekend, because they heard some negative things, or also because there are a lot of big movies that came out this weekend. There's also that, too. Number 10, closing it out, we have Mary, Queen of Scots, actually making it into the number 10 spot, making $2.2 million, adding to a domestic total of $3 million. This is one of those Oscar hopefuls that maybe if it's nominated for anything will get in a little bit more expanded run, but I'm honestly not too entirely sure because I haven't heard anyone, besides from the two main actresses, really praising this movie to like some high extent or anything. So I think this is one of those Oscar contenders that won't be coming back to the theater for any Oscar runs or anything like that. Now it's time for the fun part, the predictions for next week's top 5. Number 1, I think will be Aquaman once again. Number 2, Mary Poppins Returns. Number 3, Bumblebee. Number 4, Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. And number 5, I think, will be Holmes and Watson. Unfortunately, I don't think Vice will be able to make it into the top 5 for this weekend. As much as I do think it will make some money, make it into the top 10, I don't think it will be in the top 5 exactly. But what are your predictions for next week's top 5? Leave it in the comments below. And if you got your predictions right for this week, you aren't going to get a shout out right now. Unless you didn't get it right, then I'm sorry. And as always, thank you guys for watching. Make sure to subscribe. I'm Jackson Fulcher. See you guys next time.